Before we start this video, I'd just like to say thanks to Civic Monster, one of my True Believer patrons on Patreon, for requesting this video. If you'd like to request a video, visit patreon.com/thebirdman to find out how.
Even back in the mid-90s, Disney's logo was sucking its own spire.
Except this obviously isn't the Disney logo from the 90s. This is.
I come from a land, from a faraway place.
Narration that is sung? What fresh hell is this?
And this isn't narration. Granted, this is sung by the peddler, but he's a minor character in the story, and his actual narration doesn't begin until he attempts to tell the story of Aladdin and the lamp.
You are late.
Jesus, even hand-drawn movies feel compelled to make Tardian as part of their dialogue, even when it serves zero narrative purpose.
Dude, what the hell is this nonsense? This dialogue sets up Jafar as the intimidating figure that he is, and shows why crossing him is a bad idea. Zero narrative purpose?
Hey, who man's is this?
Well, let me explain to you what...
Who man's is this?
The Cave of Wonders.
Funny story, Cave of Wonders was actually my nickname for my college girl.
Normally, I'd have just skipped this nonsense, but I'd like to point out the hypocrisy of Jeremy talking about his made-up girlfriend's vagina on a video for a children's film, while also attempting to send the film for being sexual.
Often than not, are hotter than hot in a lot of good ways.
Yes, every Disney movie from your childhood was much more sexual than you remember, evidenced here by this lyric. Clearly talking about all the wonderful ways an Arabian night can be hotter than hot. If this all leads to HBO picking up an option on Game of Lamps, I'm totally in.
Only one may enter here, one whose worth lies far within, the diamond in the rough.
If you want to make it hard for posers and non-worthy fools to enter, why spout out all rules like this for anyone nearby to hear?
The point is that only those that are worthy will be able to enter, and if Marvel is any indication, only Aladdin, Thor, and America's ass will be able to enter this cave.
A parrot with human teeth.
While a parrot with teeth is sinful, this sin is for saying human teeth, as if humans are the only species with incisors.
I'll have your hands for a trophy, street rat.
All this for a loaf of bread?
Well, I was about to ask the same question, dog.
Jeremy sends something he likes cliché.
You're only in trouble if you get caught.
And sometimes not even then. Just ask Alex Rodriguez.
Ignoring this pop culture reference for just a sec, you're not disagreeing with Aladdin here. He said you're only in trouble if you get caught, meaning that is the only time in which one can be in trouble. You stating sometimes not even then means that sometimes you are in trouble when you get caught, validating his statement. Also, Jeremy makes a pop culture reference.
Gotta eat to live, gotta steal to eat.
Stealing.
So you're going to sin Aladdin for stealing, even though he just said, gotta steal to eat to live. Considering CinemaSins is now valued at over $6 million, Jeremy's the 1%.
Carpet shadowing.
Carpet shadowing.
All the Back to the Future movies had come out by this point, but this film still wants to act like having the villains land in poop is neat, fun, new, edgy, or hilarious. It's none of those things. It's honestly one of my least favorite things about the Back to the Future movies.
Okay, but as a kid, I thought this was pretty funny, so since we're at odds, whose opinion matters more, yours or mine? The point that I'm making here is that opinions are not sins or something wrong with this film. This is literally you just reacting to a gag in a children's film as a jaded 40-year-old man.
Here. Go on, take it.
Flawed hero does a random act of kindness, so we know he or she has a heart of gold and are being a good example for their monkey cliché.
Sinning a hero for being good cliché.
On his way to the palace, I suppose.
Glad these rando crowds positioners just have to be saying their thoughts out loud, or how would we ever know what was going on?
I mean, we would, but you wouldn't. Allow me to channel my future in-game parody video. I mean, my inner Jeremy. Wait a minute. Who is this guy? Why doesn't the movie tell me who he is and why I should care?
On his way to the palace, I suppose.
Ah, this guy's trying to tell me who he is and why I should care.
Must be married to a prince by your next birthday. You've only got 3 more days.
Jasmine has been a prisoner in a castle with only animal friends her entire life and has 3 more days of slight independence before being forced to marry a man and continue to lose her identity. That's dark.
No, that's how shit was done in medieval times. Did you not watch Game of Thrones, which you alluded to earlier? Hell, at least she isn't Sansa Stark when she got married to Ramsay. That was dark.
Except you, Raja.
This movie is way too f***ing casual about a tame f***ing tiger. The most trained tigers alive in modern society still nearly killed Siegfried, or Roy, or whoever. I can't remember which one. Point is, tigers f*** up.
And all-powerful genies with the ability to grant 3 wishes do not exist. This is an animated fantasy film, son. Who gives a shit about the tiger being tamed?
Ah, Jafar, my most trusted advisor.
Dick Cheney.
And all the liberals laughed their heads off because they thought that was funny. Meanwhile, all the conservatives are foaming at the mouths, ready to call you an SJW for that line. I guess my point is that politics should probably stay out of comedy, unless it's really funny. Like when I do it.
Everything will be fine.
Yeah, that will be pretty good.
How long after being hypnotized is he a red-eyed zombie? And if you can do this to people as powerful as the f***ing Sultan, why do you need genie powers? You are already in charge of an entire country!
There is an old saying that is appropriate here. What is a king to a god? Jafar is after absolute power here. If he doesn't have the power of a genie, what happens if a stronger nation decides to invade Agrabah?
I love how she put on sackcloth, but left on the ginormous gold earrings even Mariah Carey would be embarrassed to wear.
Bitch, please. Mariah Carey still walks out of the house like she fell into superglue and stumbled through Elton John's closet.
Jasmine takes an apple from the vendor, gives it to a little kid, and walks away. Look, I know she grew up sheltered in the palace, but she for sure knows that in the market isn't free.
If she grew up sheltered in the palace, where literally everything is surely free to her, exactly how would she know that things aren't free? Apparently, Jeremy has never heard of spoiled rich kids.
Let's have the guards extend him an invitation to the palace, shall we?
But you merely saw his image in a f***ing hourglass. How the f*** do the guards know who to look for? This is some nuclear level yada yadaing, man.
No, this is some Ricky Bobby level obliviousness. All Jafar has to do is tell them. Was that hard?
The director said, let's have the monkey end up with 2 apples, even though he had 3 just a minute ago and 8 to begin with, because then people will be so confused they won't know if he's an asshole or not.
You patting the sink out, bro?
Do you trust me?
What?
Do you trust me?
Why the f*** would she, dude?
'Cause he just saved her?
Death by beheading.
This shit is dark, man. You forgot about it because Robin Williams shows up and everything gets hilarious for a while, but this shit is nearly as dark as the dark parts of Hunchback.
Why is it a sin for it being dark, though? Kids back in the 90s weren't pussies like they are today. Back in my day, we had all kinds of crazy cartoons like Darkwing Duck and Street Sharks, and a trigger warning was Dr. Dre saying,
"You are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge."
I'd remove all the sins right here if instead of comforting Jasmine, Raja just bit her in half like a regular tiger would.
This man just complained about the film being dark, but would praise it for a tiger brutally mutilating a princess.
Wait, didn't the cat say earlier that...
Only one may enter here.
So why is Abu able to waltz in there too? And before you claim that it's because he's an animal, there are a couple problems with that monkey business. First, he certainly counts when he sets off a booby trap by touching the loot. And second, if animals didn't matter, why couldn't Jafar have just sent in Iago in the first place and let him swoop in and grab the lamp?
The answer to your question is twofold. Just like if your pet harmed someone's child and you would still be found culpable, Abu is an extension of Aladdin. As for why Iago cannot go into the cave, Iago is also unworthy, just like Jafar. They are both greedy, power-hungry, and cold-hearted.
Abu is kind of a little bitch.
Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa! Whoa!
This is a golden chicken. This is a golden Stay Puft Marshmallow Man peeking out from behind a cauldron. Just FYI.
This is Jeremy just pointing things out on the screen. Just FYI.
I think he knows where it is.
Or she.
No, Aladdin's magic carpet is 100% intended to be male, as confirmed by Genie referring to him as Rug Man.
No one will be seated during the how the big is this goddamn cave anyway portion of the movie.
It's called the Cave of Wonders, dude. Enough said.
Good thing they spent 60 seconds befriending the Ex Machina carpet before they came in here, huh?
And I might just go mad every time this fucking lad misuses Ex Machina.
Let's just say that for this section, a luck dragon started a coincidence cherub in a threesome with an advantage angel.
Skip!
Honestly, with a boulder this big, I'm calling bullshit on carpet wriggling free with its own strength.
You're calling bullshit on a magic carpet? You calling bullshit on a magic carpet?
Whoever he was, He's long gone with that lamp.
Oh, come on. You can cartoon physics the silly stuff, but the important plot points too? Abu really has somewhere to store a lamp that big?
It's called Hammerspace, Jeremy, and it's something basically every cartoon does. Not to mention this is supposed to be silly and funny, that Abu was able to take and hide something that's essentially the same size he is. Notice the giant smile on his face?
Right here for your very much wish fulfillment.
Even in 1992, the Ed Sullivan Show reference probably missed its audience by about 30 years. What's next, a Groucho Marx reference? Well...
You always seem to do this for every animated film. You realize this is a cartoon that came out in actual theaters, yes? And you're aware that children cannot take themselves to movie theaters, right? My point is that animated films usually have jokes that are meant to entertain the parents of the target demographic as well. This is not a sin.
Can't bring people back from the dead. It's not a pretty picture. I don't like doing it!
Setting aside that all three of these rules are very plot convenient? No, never mind. Sin that.
I will sin that, considering you didn't even show the other two rules but are sinning all three for being plot convenient, whatever the hell that means.
But also, what do you mean you don't like doing it? Doesn't that mean that you've done it, even though you just said it was a rule that you couldn't do it? There's a difference between not wanting to do something and not being allowed to.
Yes, that means he has done it before, and as a result of bad experiences, this was a rule that was created later.
To think we gotta keep kissing up to that chump and his chump daughter.
You don't though. Just use the snake staff and hypnotize him or her or both of them. Honestly, don't understand Jafar at f***ing all. He's like Leonardo DiCaprio on a mile-long yacht, lying on a bed of cash surrounded by naked models, getting a handjob from the literal hand of God, looking up into the sky and saying, something is missing in my life.
I was with you until you decided to get a handjob from God. I'm pretty sure Eminem doesn't like jerking people off.
I love the way your foul little mind works.
Hey, we'll handle the obvious puns around here, mister.
Jeremy sins something he does, Cliché.
You will order the princess to marry me.
Hold up, serious f***ing question time. Why the f*** would Jafar do this, instead of just mind-controlling Jasmine herself?
Because he doesn't need Jasmine's consent. He needed her father's. That's how kingdoms worked, yo. Also, it's heavily hinted that Jafar's staff works on those that are highly suggestible, and Jasmine was far more strong-willed than her dad.
Now try your best to stay calm. Brush up your Sunday salon.
Literally everyone is taken in by this f***ing song and dance, and ultimately Aladdin didn't need a genie, he just needed a Broadway production.
When you said literally everyone is taken in by this song, you somehow missed the one character who is not, while simultaneously showing a close-up of him.
Then come and meet a spectacular coterie.
This movie just employed the use of the word coterie, and I'm almost ready to take a sin off for not dumbing down its lyrics. But then again, I did have to do research on what it meant, so here's a sin for you and another 5 for your spectacular coterie to share amongst each other.
Jeremy sins something he likes and pads the sin count. Bro.
I'm an excellent judge of character.
Oh, excellent judge, yeah, sure. Not.
Remember the not joke? That was super 90s. We should bring it back. I'm serious. Not.
Sinning a film for being a product of its time, and that fucking laugh.
You remind me of someone I met in the marketplace.
I've never understood why Aladdin doesn't come clean here. It's obvious they hit it off before, and he doesn't need her to think he's a prince to marry her. He actually is a prince! The movie makes it seem like he thinks he needs to impress her, but doesn't he already have plenty of evidence to the contrary?
Okay, you're sinning a character arc. Aladdin eventually realizes that being a prince isn't what Jasmine wants, but that isn't something he knows right off the bat. Hell, most men in the real world think they need money and power to woo women, when all they actually need is to not look like the Birdman.
This magic carpet is turning this cloud into the poop emoji, and now you will never be able to unsee it. You are welcome.
Behold, the ungracious fall of CinemaSins. Poop emojis.
I can't help you unless you make a wish.
Except you did earlier. And sure, maybe he was tricking you then, but still, you did it, so you could do it now. And really, the fact that you manufacture a wish to do it might be more of an asshole move.
But you just said it. He was tricked into helping him the first time. He can't use his power for someone's benefit without them wishing for it, or being tricked like earlier. This is quite clearly a different situation.
Jafar spotting the lamp right now is just lazy writing.
I would argue that this ridiculous sin with absolutely zero context or explanation is lazy writing. And it's 5 of you bitches.
What if they find out I'm not really a prince?
Sorry if I'm repeating myself here. Who am I kidding? I'm not sorry. But you are really a prince. The wish wasn't to look like a prince. It was to be a prince. You aren't a fraud. You took a shortcut. And that's just working smarter, not harder.
You're misunderstanding Prince Ali. He's asking what if they discover that he took a magical shortcut and wasn't born a prince.
Then you will cower before a sorcerer!
With all the mind control and magic you were doing earlier, I thought you already were a sorcerer.
Jafar only used hypnosis up until he became an actual sorcerer. You'd know that if you were actually paying attention.
Pains me to see you reduced to this, Jasmine.
Is there a way that we could really emphasize that Jafar is an asshole? We could have him literally put Jasmine in chains. What if he also spit on her? We're close. What if he did it all while eating an apple? Daryl, you're a genius.
Gotta make sure this video is over 10 minutes.
Hot damn, this guy is the most observant guy ever.
Things my audience used to say before the Birdman showed up.
How many times do I have to kill you, boy?
Once? Which you never even personally attempted, even though you've had plenty of opportunities?
I mean, he trapped him in the Cave of Wonders and threw him in the ocean with a prisoner ball attached to his feet. Aladdin would be as dead as fried chicken if not for the carpet and the genie.
From this day forth, the princess shall marry whoever she deems worthy.
Well, that was easy. Too bad he couldn't have done that back in the beginning of the movie. Then Aladdin could have just used his wishes on something more important, like infinite genies.
This shit was not easy. He had to go through being arrested, getting out of the cave, almost drowning, fighting a powerful sorcerer, and saving the princess. Forget infinite genies, this man is owed infinite beers and blowjobs.